I know this sounds borderline crazy, but I'm about to say something very evil right now. I made a grown man cry and absolutely loved it. There he was, on his knees, sobbing so hard that he could have drowned in his tears, desperate to hold me and be held by me. And suddenly, he said something so shockingly amusing that it made my cheeks tickle pink in satisfaction. But wait, before I tell you what he said, why am I even telling you the story? My name is Natalie Pratt, and I'm here to reveal a hush-hush psychological trick that'll make any man's heart beat, bang, and hammer with attraction for you. This trick is so terrifyingly unusual that when used on a guy, a new series of reactions will stir up in his head, and his body temperature will rise with raging temptation for you. I know this sounds freakish and beyond belief, so how can I be so sure it works? Well, in order to prove it, I'll have to go back to my story. It was around 2 a.m. in the morning when I was sitting on the edge of my bed with my boyfriend Kenneth sitting on the sofa in front of me. With a heavy sigh, he stood up and pushed his hands deep into his pockets. And then in a very disturbed tone, he said, "Natalie, there's something I need to tell you." A weird sense of tightness pulled at my forehead. As I replied, "Go on, I'm listening." "I think we're better off being friends. I don't think this is working out," he said. I strained to hold back my tears as I gave him a brutal stare. With trembling lips, I asked, "What do you mean?" "I don't see a future with you," he replied in this annoyingly frank tone. My blood pressure mounted, and I wanted to shout, rant, and scream, but I took a calm, deep breath and asked, "Is there someone else?" He turned his face away and in a very cold tone said, "Yes." My body almost exploded with pain, and this unleashed the hidden bitch inside me. I grabbed a shoe and threw it at him abnormally hard. It must have missed his head by a couple of inches. Before I could even think, he shot out of the door like a bullet out of a gun and ran away barefoot. I stood motionless as I tried to digest how the man I loved so much just assaulted my feelings and murdered them. But I wasn't going to let him off the hook this easy. With rage-filled eyes, I texted him and asked, "How could you do this to me?" I immediately received a response which read, "I don't think you're good enough for me. I deserve better, and I am way too good looking for you." My face burned with anger, and I wanted every cell, every nerve, and every muscle in his body to burn, suffer, and burst with pain. "He'll pay for this," I told myself. I vowed that I was going to smash and squish him emotionally and make him regret ever leaving me. With a psychopathic level of obsession, I searched for solutions and accidentally met this mysterious guy named James, who left me surprised and a little horrified. James had this underground group where he helped a handful of women attract extraordinarily handsome and abnormally rich millionaires who were so loaded that cash was literally falling out of their ears. But that wasn't even the big surprise. The biggest surprise was the kind of women he was helping, because none of these women were petite blondes with perfect blue eyes and velvety soft skin. Rather, they were your regular plain Janes with average jobs who were well into their 40s and 50s. Now, I'm not saying they were horrid-looking with horns growing out of their foreheads, but why would rich and handsome men date such ordinary women when they could easily have supermodels going wild, furious, and violent in attraction for them? But then I thought, James must be teaching something freakishly phenomenal, and he would definitely have a solution for my situation. I told James about my dreadful situation and spat out all the disturbing and creepy details. After hearing me, James threw his head back in thought and said, "Send your ex this text." And without revealing too many details, he explained that this text trick is called the Intrigue Activator and will make my ex thirsty and hungry to meet me. The text appeared too simple and even stupid if I were to be honest, but I sent the text anyway and waited. No reply. I waited a few more hours and still no reply. Okay, this is dumb, and this text was never going to work, I thought, but that's when my phone buzzed. It was a text from my ex, and it read, "Can we please meet to talk about this?" I couldn't believe my eyes. It freaking worked. I fought my urge to respond right away and immediately contacted James. James told me to meet my ex and shared one specific line that I must say at the beginning and at the very end during my meeting. He said that a variation of this line is used by hypnosis experts to put people into a trance, and this triggers a man's biological attraction circuit